It's a tough decision. You're good in such a complete.
And going to the finals for the first time in 13 seasons.
Here supporting.
That loss marked the end of a chapter and the start of another one, with the team fully embracing Anthony Edwards as their leader and star. Edwards has grown into an all-around force, ready to take the Timberwolves deep into the playoffs, but it's not just him, it's a revamped Minnesota squad with key additions like Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo, along with rising stars and defensive anchors. With the Wolves having a young phenom in Anthony Edwards, they're definitely in a great spot, as once you have a star to build around, it's all about grabbing the right pieces. In the 2024 season, Edwards showcased that he's more than just someone who can entertain us with his high-flying moves, as he's a high-volume scorer who can get mad creative. With his combination of size, athleticism, and skill, it makes him one of the toughest players to guard, as you have to account for him scoring the ball from wherever on the floor, and you also don't want to get caught in midair with him, or else you might just end up on a poster. When you say the name Anthony Edwards, most people will think of his high energetic playstyle, but when we actually narrow down his skills, you'll notice that his elite driving skills is what jumpstarts his entire game. On all driving and cutting dunks and layups, Edwards converted 60% of his 439 field goal attempts, and this right here is what takes up a major bulk of his game. We all know just how skilled of a slasher he is with all the ways he can get to the basket, and if you don't, well, check out my video over him. This ability of his to get downhill and put pressure on the defense does a ton of things for this team, as when he's constantly attacking the paint, it can force the defense to give up these and ones. With him now having a 40% three-point guard on the floor with him, it'll open up these looks for Edwards to sink the defense to then spray it out for a three. And for the most entertaining one, if guys are so bought in on stopping penetration, well, Edwards can yank them back to get straight cash. With Edwards being able to score the ball in multiple ways, it allows the Wolves to be more flexible with how they use him, and a key thing they need to do is continue to find him when he's spotting up, as last season Edwards reined in 41% of his 2 catch and shoot threes per game, so now with another ball handler and DiVincenzo on the court with him, it should present many more opportunities. The reason this is so important is because when defenses have to worry about Ant shooting the 3-ball, and Donte also being able to shoot it from 3 as well, this will force defenders to stay home, which will open up space for Julius Randle to create once he starts operating. Not only is it offensively where Ant lifts his team up, as when you watch him on defense, you can see in one-on-one scenarios that he takes it personal to stick his man up. I understand that Ant can get caught ball watching and be lazy at times when his man doesn't have the ball, but when he locks in, he can be a menace in the passing lanes with his 1.3 steals per game, and when guys think they can ISO him to go score the ball, he shows them that it won't be easy at all. Having your star guard lead the way like this is incredible, as it sets the tone for the entire team, and he won't be doing it alone, as they have another hungry guard who's ready to step in and contribute, and that is Donte DiVincenzo. I understand that the attention of this trade was mainly centered around Cat and Julius Randle, but when you look at the fit Donte will have next to Edwards, you can see why he's just as important in this deal. The Timberwolves needed a guard who could go out there and be a volume scorer, and with DiVincenzo, you get just that. This guy is fearless, hungry, and just plays like he has a chip on his shoulder. After spending major time in Milwaukee, Golden State, and then playing with the Knicks, DiVincenzo has learned to mesh with different players, and now with Minnesota, he'll have more of a solid role to showcase his talents. The main thing he brings over to the Wolves is that 3-point shooting, because now with Cat gone, the Wolves go down a shooter, but they regain a guard who can knock it down at volume. Not only does it help recoup on the 3-point shooting that they lost, but now with Donte bringing his 40% shooting over to the Wolves, it'll open up the floor more, which will present different angles for Ant and others to slash, and this unlocks yet another level of offense for this team. I personally believe this fit will be seamless, as we all heard Anthony Edwards say he loves playing with Donte, and in the preseason so far, he's looked extremely comfortable. DiVincenzo can be used off ball to run off screens, he can initiate plays, and he understands when to cut within the offense. A lot of his value will come from his ability to be a versatile offensive player in terms of playmaking and shooting, as his hustle hard mentality is something that disrupts opposing offenses. Last season, Donte was ranked at 6 in deflections with 3 per game, and 14th in steals per game at 1.3. So just because he isn't an elite one-on-one defender doesn't mean anything, because if you think he's a non-factor, then that's when he'll catch you off guard and be a pest on the defensive end. This right here is exactly what they need from a guard next to Anthony Edwards, and as much as Cat was loved and had a connection with Ant, I feel like the dog mentality Julius Randle has fits with Ant way more. Regardless of how you feel about his playstyle, Randle is one of those guys who will insert his will whenever he feels he needs to, and this makes defenses have to scheme for ways to slow him down. His intensity, toughness, and ability to impose his will on both ends of the floor is exactly what the Timberwolves need, especially in high-pressure playoff moments. In 2024, Randle averaged 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists, which highlights his versatility on the floor. He can operate out the post, knock down shots in the mid-range, and when he attracts the attention from multiple defenders, he is great at making the right reads. When looking at a breakdown of Randle's scoring areas, he attempts most of his shots from inside the arc, where he converted 53% of his 12 2-point field goal attempts a night. And I understand that this isn't something you really break your neck at, but with the low post and the mid-range being areas where Randle likes to work, this now makes defenders have to sag in a little more, as he does have respect for most defenses. And now what does that open up? Well, you're gonna have Anthony Edwards spotting up to knock it down, or you have Donte DiVincenzo waiting for his moment. Not only is Randle valuable because he can find guys out these actions, but also with the inside being a sweet spot, he'll thrive off Edwards being able to make the defense collapse. I get it, it's nice when you have a big who you can kick it out to and hit a 3, but now you have a guy who specializes in close range, so once the defense overloads on the drive, well now you have a dump off available to an aggressive Randle. That aggressive playstyle of his is going to translate to even more second chances, as Randle averaged 2.2 offensive rebounds per game, and although he isn't some elite shot blocker or anything, he has a strong big body and grit that will be key to him guarding bigs down low. Now he won't be a guy that they start to run their defense around or anything, but when you pair his aggression next to Rudy Gobert who anchors this defense, it certainly gets tough down low, and then when you add in Edwards and DiVincenzo flying around the perimeter and passing lanes, it makes the playing field even more hectic. But hey, say you do want a player who you can stick on guys and make sure you get a stop, well that's where you bring in Jaden McDaniels. This guy right here really put everyone on notice last year about his defensive skill set, as it doesn't matter who you ask him to guard, he's gonna make it hard for them to go score the ball. His 6'10" height and near 7-foot wingspan completely hounds offensive players as they try to navigate to their spots, and when you look at his defended field goal percentage on all shots less than 10 feet, McDaniels is making guys convert 10% less than their average at 50% opposed to 60%. I know when you look at certain numbers such as steals and blocks, they may not be groundbreaking numbers for McDaniels, but if you were to tune into the game, you would see that a lot of his impact doesn't even pop up in the numbers. His ability to lock up a guard to then immediately switch onto a forward and do the same thing is priceless, as this gives the Wolves extreme versatility with the lineups they can use. When you look at the pieces they have, it looks like they will be able to fly around and cause havoc defensively, and although McDaniels is mainly known for his defense, in this past year's playoffs, Jaden shot 42% from deep on 3 attempts per game, and he showcased some flashes of being able to put the ball on the deck to go score. With the Wolves grabbing another scorer in Donte DiVincenzo, it releases some pressure off McDaniels having to step up offensively, so now he can be even more impactful defensively. His defense is truly suffocating for all defenses, and for something I want us to all talk about instead of me going deep into it is Rudy Gobert's defense. How do you all feel about him as a defender? And do you agree with the slander he gets or not? I'll answer in the comments below when we talk about it, but one thing I will say is that hold on. Let me just save it for the comment section. Regardless how you feel about Rudy Gobert, there's one thing you can't deny, and that is the emergence of Naz Reed, aka Big Jelly. Reid is just coming off a season where he won 6 Man of the Year, and to see how impactful he was for this team last season was amazing. His improved ability to contribute on both ends of the floor gives the Timberwolves a major advantage, as he can space the floor out with his 41% shooting from deep, he can put it on the deck to get inside with his 54% conversion rate on all driving layups and dunks, and then on the defensive end, he's quick enough to stay with guys a little smaller than him, but then he also has the length to guard bigger guys than him. There's many ways you can use a big like this, such as pick and pops, pick and rolls, or as a spot-up option. Naz truly isn't your average backup big man, as he's a key part of Minnesota's success. Some players that I want us all to talk about is Rob Dillingham, Nickeil Alexander, Terrence Shannon Jr., of course Mike Conley, and last but not least, the impact of Rudy Gobert defensively. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.